Michael, how you feeling today?
I'm feeling pretty incredible, guys.
You know, when we've had you from time to time throughout your tenure with the White Sox, and what would your reaction have been in June if you would have known that you would be closing out Game 3 of the World Series?
I probably would have called a bluff on that somewhere, just on the trajectory our season was going. But to be a part of a tough season like that, and to get an opportunity to come to an organization that has had a pretty unmatched postseason run, and to be able to be a piece of that is pretty incredible. But I still owe a lot of thank you to the White Sox. I'm just incredibly grateful for the position I'm in.
Yeah, and Michael, I mean, I think the answer may be a bit obvious, but when I say or ask you, what is the major difference between where you're at in the organization you're with now versus what you were a part of with the White Sox here? If there is a simple answer to that question.
As straightforward as it is, the difference is winning, and I think that a lot of people try to break down what creates a winning team or what makes up a winning team. And from my experience in the past few years, I think that you can almost get too analytical of what creates a winning team. You can almost get too into dissecting it and trying to figure out, is this the thing that's going to do it, or is this the thing that's going to do it? And I mean, a lot of variables matter. The camaraderie does matter. The culture does matter. But ultimately, competitive players that want to win is the main thing. And I'm not saying that there weren't a lot of those with the White Sox, but momentum helps with that. When a competitive team has momentum and they can build off that and build off of that and build off that, the snowball effect works very real in both ways, winning or losing.
Michael, when you got to the Dodgers, was there any self-doubt in you, or were you just, ready for the new opportunity?
Man, no, I was ready for a new opportunity. And it was because I was so ready to get away from the White Sox or anything like that. It was because in the past few years I've just had so many on and off field struggles, and a clean slate. It felt like it was time for me to hit the restart button, and to be able to do that and not think about, what I've created of a reputation or anything like that was huge for me.
Michael Kopech joining us pregame, Game 4 of the World Series. We'll have it on ESPN 1000. So, when we were just talking about all that, the reset button and just the new environment, when you go from 4.74 earned run average to 1.13 earned run average, it's that, or did they put you under the microscope at all and tweak anything?
To be honest, no, not in the way that you would think anyway. I did get to work with some really great guys here. Connor McGinnis is special in the way that he looks at guys and he's able to diagnose stuff. Mark Pryor, one of the best pitchers of his day, and being able to see things from a different lens here as a guy that's been on top of the game and a guy that's had to grind through injury. I feel like I can really relate to him too. Josh Bard in the bullpen has been my absolute guy for since the day I got here. So I've had a lot of help, and for them to be able to kind of diagnose some things and be like, this is what you do really well, this is what you don't do well. But I mean, it was just as simple as that. They were like diagnosing my throw, like this is you, go be you. But they didn't really add anything. They didn't really want to change anything. They just wanted to clean things up. And I think that for the most part, I've been able to do that, and it's still a work in progress, and it's still something we're going to take into the off season. But it's been really cool so far.
You know, I mentioned the surreal nature of you closing out Game 3 after what you've been through this year with the White Sox. And then I'm not even a Sox fan, but we've just watched you for the last few years. When I saw you greeting Freddie Freeman at home plate and hugging him after Game 1, that if you're not a sports fan, you just, I mean, like, it translated to everyone. That's just what you live for, to watch sports, even if you're not a Dodgers fan. It was an incredible moment. Can you describe what that was like, taking that in to then running to home plate, and what it was like for you to look on from that perspective?
Can I describe it? Probably not. But you know, it was a pretty incredible feeling to be in the series, first of all, but to be a part of that game, to go and see us down to our last out, and for Freddie. And I really wish I could talk more about what Freddie's going through, but I can't be the guy to just air out everything that he has. But people don't realize what he's going through emotionally, physically, everything. And for him to step up and be the player that he's been, not just this postseason, but this World Series too, and leading into the postseason, and it's really special. So as a man of faith, it made me not only like excited about the game of baseball, but it spiritually moved me. And for me to be out there celebrating that moment with him, it's a pretty surreal feeling. I felt like I was floating. I think Fred said the same thing when he was rounding the bases, and I can't imagine being him, but I felt like I was floating on air.
I assume, Michael, that as you're a kid and you're an accomplished baseball player, you dream about what it would be like to take the ball on the mound in a World Series game. Was reality exactly how you pictured it would be?
Man, not at all, honestly. Not at all. It's really cool. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of emotion and adrenaline that comes along with it. But to tell you the truth, I don't think any of it has set in for me. I was talking to my family about this yesterday, and I'm actually completely okay with that. I want it to set in after the fact, so I'm not trying to take in, a huge moment while I'm trying to do my job. I'll be happy to look back on this and be like, man, that was really cool. And I'm just trying to live in the moment, but I don't want to think of what the moment means or anything like that. I just want to be here fully for that.
You've pitched in all 3 of the games so far. Are you available tonight if they need you?
I'm available every day. I'm not missing this for the world, man.
I love that. Yeah. So about the White Sox, and you've had good things to say as we've talked to you about them. What I've always wanted to know about the White Sox, and as you know, we're the home for the White Sox, ESPN 1000.
Right.
The Field of Dreams game, and you were a young player on that team, a reliever, and you guys were on top of the world. Tim Anderson hits that walk-off. You guys are like the cool kids in town, the new young team that everyone wants to be like. And then a few years later, you're here, and the White Sox have the worst record in modern baseball history. What happened from then to now, and why?
Man, I thought about this a lot, and I don't know. I really don't. I don't know what happened on an individual standpoint for me, and like not ever really being able to match that success again with the White Sox. I don't know what happened as a team. I remember the first half of that season us being absolutely incredible. It felt like every game we were homering and Liam was closing it out, and we were having reliever after reliever strike out the side, and starter after starter have no hit bids. Like I remember all of it, and it was an incredible period of baseball for us. But I don't know if I could tell you where things changed exactly. I just know that it was never the same after that first half of 21. It it was tough to kind of look back on that and be like, this is what it could have been for this entire time, and not to see it flourish.
And like word is they may try and trade Crochet. And if they do continue to bottom out, as you mentioned, like it's a tough place when you're losing every day. Is it, Michael, when you feel like you're losing every day, is it tough to develop as a young player in that environment?
I think there's just like anything, there's good and bad. I think that it creates a lot of opportunity for young players that they may not have otherwise, and I also think that it can be really difficult to find your feet as a young player because, you know, success creates confidence and they build off of one another, and to have a player go out there and be a part of a successful team and help win, you know, it kind of helps that player develop on his own. So, I think it is a little bit difficult, but I also think it creates a lot of opportunities. And if guys just can keep things in the right perspective, and know that, you know, it's eventually going to be better. You're eventually going to start winning some games, or you're going to be on a team that's going to win some games, but you need to work on what you need to work on, and it'll show up down the road. Then I think it's ultimately good for the guy.
But no ill will, or like, do you feel like that the locker room, like there were reports, hey, the clubhouse was a bad spot? How do you feel looking back on it?
Man, when I think about how the clubhouse was, I had some really good friends in that clubhouse. I think there were moments where things were bad. But I think when you're on a team where everyone's frustrated, like that's going to happen naturally. I don't think it was the clubhouse leading to a bad team playing environment or anything like that. I think that ultimately, if we would have been winning, I'll go back to the first half of 21 again. When we were winning that first half, the clubhouse was incredible. It was a very similar team the next season. We weren't winning as much. It wasn't as good. It just wasn't in the clubhouse. I don't think the clubhouse led to the playing environment. I think the playing environment led to the clubhouse.
Okay, Michael, I'm a 57-year-old man, but I need to ask you a question that a kid would probably ask you. What's it like to hang around Shohei all day, every day?
It's kind of strange because he's a really normal guy, goes about his work, likes to smile, he's really friendly. But, we're witnessing history night after night. And when you reflect on that, when you go home, you're like, oh, it's not just a normal guy I'm hanging around. This guy is going to be a name that people remember for, century from now. It's a lot to take in, and he handles it all so well. So it's really cool. But yeah, a player. But I honestly could say the same thing about, being around Kershaw, being around Freddie, being around Mookie. Like, they're not, exactly the Shohei caliber, because Shohei does it on both sides, and he'll be even more special next season. But all of those guys are, they're playing in a league of their own.
Have you? Who's the most famous person you've run into in LA, and have you been kind of like? Is there somebody out there that you met that you'd never met before, and you were like, "Wow, I was a little bit gun shy about talking to this person"?
Yeah, it's mainly caught me off guard because we've been in the clubhouse when it's happened. But Chuck Liddell is one of them, and yeah, he walked into the weight room, and I was like, "That's." I'm pretty sure. And then Will Ferrell after one of the games coming in, it threw me off as well.
That's really good. We wish you the best. So would you say that you're a reliever from now on, or would you like to start in the future?
Man, I'll be honest, this question is really hard for me to answer, and it's not something I even want to leave up to myself anymore. I just want to see what God's plan works out for me, and ultimately what this organization wants to do with me. I'll be honest, I love to start. I like starting, but I think the bullpen's also a good fit for me. I'm not going to be disappointed either way. I'll put it that way.
Well, class act all
Yes.
the way, Michael. And we can't tell you how much we appreciate talking to you. Go out, win it tonight. Hopefully you're on the mound to close it out, and all the best to you.
Continued
All
success,
right,
Michael.
guys.
Thanks.
I appreciate it so much. Thank y'all.